That tire tracks after that truck. Never seen a truck driving up and down this beach before, but hey, first time for everything. All right, so you got the Ocean House, the Lighthouse, got Taylor Swift's house. Got all the houses. I'm out in the Watch Hill area, Westerly, Rhode Island, right on the southernmost tip of Rhode Island, right by the Connecticut border. Love it out here. It's beautiful, it's peaceful. Summertime, it's packed. It's always packed. A couple people out here today. It's January 1st, by the way. Happy New Year. There are so many remote ID videos out there that I wanted to make my own. I love flying. That's why I opened up with some drone videos. Even in the dead of winter, you can still find some beautiful areas to try to grab some really cool shots. And this is being one of them. But I wanted to make a remote ID video for dummies. I love the For Dummy books. They've helped me out so many times, helped this dummy out so many times. And I figured I'd try to make a quick remote ID video, summarize all that 470 pages that I read down into about 3 minutes. So here we go. Okay, remote ID was introduced last year with a bunch of really worrisome procedures, processes that they were going to put into place. They made the finalized version this last week, and glad to say that the 53,000 comments that we all submitted were listened to. How do I know that? In the 470 pages, they answered all of them. Very happy. So let's get into it. For starters, there is no cellular. That was a big concern for everybody. Not just because there's areas out there that do not have cellular reception, but it's not very cost efficient. And what does that do for the current drones that we have? It can make them paperweights. Now, it's going to be a radio broadcast through Wi-Fi, through Bluetooth. That's all great news. There's going to be 3 levels of remote ID. You're going to have the standard. The standard remote ID is going to be what comes out of the drones that's built in internally. Now, the remote ID is going to be subject to the standard register in the next 30 days, and then 60 days, it's going to be into law. It's going to be applied. That does not mean that we have to go into or we have to comply with the rules ourselves as pilots. We have plenty of time. Matter of fact, we have almost 3 years. The remote ID that goes into place with the 3 tiers, like I was just saying, the standard, the first one is going to be broadcasting from the drone and from the control center, the remote control. The drone manufacturers like the DJI, the Autel, have 18 months to build these drones and to get them available for the pilots. So that's good right there. It's going to broadcast it from start to shutdown, the takeoff to shutdown, the whole time. It's going to broadcast from both areas, and you are not going to be able to take off your drone and fly with it until it is communicated, the remote ID that is. The second level is the add-on module. Now, whether it's a firmware update, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't know what's already built inside of the drones, or whether you have to add on an exterior module. We'll see. Maybe they can build it into a battery. Who knows? A battery replacement, that is. Build it right into it, and then you don't have to worry about it. But either way, it allows us to use the drones that we have today pre-remote ID, so they don't go the way of the dodo. This exterior one, or add-on module, is going to communicate from from takeoff to shutdown on the drone, but the pilot, the control center, the remote control, only from where it takes off. So if you leave that spot where you took off, then it's not going to broadcast where you are, only where you took off. Now, the third level is if you don't want to fly with remote ID at all, you can go to a designated area that they're calling a FRIA. Kind of boring. Just go to one park, put it up in the air, there you go. Not my cup of tea. They're still designating hobbyists from commercial pilots. The hobbyists under 250 grams do not have to worry about remote ID, but if you have the Mini or the Mini 2 and you throw on the prop guards, now you're over 250, remote ID has to happen. If you go over the 250 for hobbyists, all you have to do is register and remote ID once, and it applies for your entire fleet. 107s still have to do it for each individual one. Now, Part 107 pilots, they still have to do it regardless of the weight and each individual one, but there are some benefits. The first is when you go for your initial test, you still have to go on site, show your ID, take the test, pay the fee. But every 2 years, when it expires, you could do it online and a recurrent. The recurrent is a study session, much easier than the initial test, just to make sure you're up to date on the rules, and it's free. Now, they also included the waivers of flying at night and flying over people. That is going to be part of 107. You will no longer need a waiver. You will have to do the study session during the recurrent, pass it in order to be able to fly at night. You still have to have the beacon to be seen over 3 statute miles, but and also the study session to make sure you're aware of the hazards and liabilities of flying at night. The flying over people is much more complicated. I won't be able to get that done today. It's very involving the drone weight and kinetic energy, that kind of stuff. I'm not that interested in flying over people, so I'm going to keep that off the books. But that's it. That's remote ID in a nutshell. All right, that's all I got. I mean, I tried to summarize it. I tried to make it quick. And just because there's so many videos out there that go into great detail and fantastic information. I love it. I was so happy. But if somebody just wants to know the broad strokes, there you go. I try to summarize it for you. All right. If I misinterpreted something or if I didn't cover something that you do want to talk about, hit me up below. Let's get into a good conversation. If I didn't misinterpret something that you want to get into it and correct me, let's do that too. I'm not perfect. But if you like the video, give me the old thumbs up. And if you want to see more, subscribe. I'll catch you next time. Later.